Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2026 Royal Ascot preview brought to you by textbet, the smarter way to place your bets via WhatsApp. It's one of the biggest betting weeks of the year, and it is finally upon us. We shall be taking an in-depth look at every day of Royal Ascot, discussing the key races, the strongest form lines, the best value opportunities, and most importantly, the horses we are backing throughout the week. And for this Royal Ascot episode, I'm delighted to be joined by both Jordan Hopkins and Steve Ryder, two experts of the game, two lovers of Royal Ascot. I know that. And very much looking forward to getting their opinions. Jordan, I'll come to you first. You're a man who's accomplished a fair amount in racing so far, whether it be bloodstock managing or French racing or English racing. You've got a fair few strings to your bow. How excited are you about Royal Ascot starting?
Yeah, thanks very much. Very kind. I think first few strings to the bow would probably be apt, but yeah, trying to ping as many as possible and hope a few land. But yeah, very excited. I'll be hopefully there for the whole week. Sort of count down the days to this from as soon as it finishes for the next year. A bit like
Yeah.
most of the rest of the racing fans in England for Cheltenham, I guess. But yeah, very excited for it to kick off. And yeah, we're not far away now, are we? Just 6 days away. So yeah.
Yeah, going all 5 days takes some stamina.
Yeah,
I've never been able to do that. It's too much for me.
I like finishing that line there. I was getting tired thinking about it, to be honest. So, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, great to have you on as well. A well-known pundit to many now on the racing TV screens, on Racing Weekly, etc. as well. How excited are you? Are you going to be going to Royal Ascot yourself?
Yeah, I'll be there on the Tuesday and Wednesday. I haven't got the same sort of stamina that what Jordan's got. But yeah, really looking forward to it. It's an interesting card to preview, isn't it? Because like sat here now, we haven't even got entries for example, the Hardwick Stakes, which is one of the
Yeah.
Group Twos later on in the week. So it is completely different build up to what the Cheltenham Festival is. But at least from at this point, we think that we should know what the ground is. You just hope that on the day there isn't huge track biases or draw biases, which we sometimes get at the meetings.
Yeah, absolutely right. And there is always a certain amount of guesswork you have to do, but alongside that is a fair bit of, I suppose, sensible estimation. We are going to kick off, as you might expect, with day one. For me, it's the best day of the week in terms of the classy horses taking part in the Group Ones. It's just a real feast of action for every racing lover. And the opening race is the Queen Anne. It's a Group One and features a team who were conspicuously absent for Epsom Derby weekend. Charlie Appleby and Godolphin, they've got the two top of the market here, Notable Speech and Opera Ballo. We also have More Thunder, Dockland, Zeus Olympios, Damasus, Lake Forest, etc. So it looks like a proper way to start the meeting, Steve. And yeah, fingers crossed we get a good clash of some really smart milers.
Yeah, and you'd imagine that all of them towards the top of the market are going to take their chance in this race. It's interesting that Godolphin and Charlie Appleby are going to run both Notable Speech and Opera Ballo. I would imagine William Buick will be on board Notable Speech. I thought it was notable how strong in the market he was for the Lockinge last time, at a time that the Charlie Appleby stable were quiet. It was an impressive 2-length victory that day over More Thunder. His Ascot form would be slightly concerning, though, for those taking a short price about him. 7th of 8 at 6-4 in St James's Palace and 4th of 10 at 4-1 in this race last year. I do like Ascot form. I do think it holds up. That leads you to Docklands. I'd have preferred his prep from last year and staying in the UK. The fact that he went over to Hong Kong last time would be a slight negative for me. I know he ran really well, but just that amount of travel in preparation for Royal Ascot would be a slight negative for me. And I'm taking a chance on More Thunder. Ahead second in the Wokingham at this meeting last year, progressed through handicaps into a Group 1 horse over 7 furlongs. Looked like the step up and trip to a mile suits last time, when a never near a second behind Notable Speech in the Lockinge last time. Notable Speech had a prep run prior to that. More Thunder was coming there on his first run of the season. I think it was 223 days off the track from More Thunder. Hopefully he's going to step forward for this. We know that he handles Ascot, and I think is a knock in each way bet.
To be honest, Steve, unfortunately for you, I rather agree. I think, yeah, More Thunder's got a proper. I'm like you. I think straight mile Ascot form is really important. Also, you handle that as opposed to those who don't. That's my one big bugbear about Notable Speech as well. I want to see him prove it, and I'm not sure it's really for him, this kind of test. Yeah, I think More Thunder and Docklands. I do worry about Docklands being on the go for too long. You just think at some point it's got to catch up with him. He's been basically running without a break maybe a couple of small breaks here and there for over a year now. So that would be my slight concern. I'm with you on Wonder. I think he's got a really good chance. It's a great run behind Notable Speech and Newbury. I think this track will suit better. We've seen that in the past, second in the Woking in the past, of course, last year. Jordan, who do you like in the race?
Unfortunately for More Thunder, I had him penned down initially, but I'm just looking. I'm just looking at the. I won't kind of go into any more detail on him because I think you both covered him quite well. Obviously, he's been rapidly progressive, and yeah, I mean he's in nearly the best hands in England. So if hopefully he can win a Group 1 this year for Connections. He was pretty unlucky in the Foray last year, and that's probably the Group 1 he's most likely to win this year. I'd say if he doesn't win this one. I was just looking at the confirmations now. Damasus has been confirmed, and I thought he was really impressive when he won the Earl of Sefton at Newmarket earlier in the year. He's probably just a touch too keen in the lock-ins, but he's really well backed for that, and he does look like a much improved horse this year on the evidence of the Earl of Sefton win. I would say. I think he's really interesting, to be honest. I think this track and trip should suit him. Strongly run, sort of stiff straight mile, and I think he's about 14 to 1 at the moment, which is like if he starts 14 to 1, I'm Dutch. Like he's definitely going to start a single figure price, and yeah, I can see him running a massive race. But yeah, more Thunder as well. I can see the pair of those going close against obviously two that you've got to respect at the top of the market for Godolphin.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he is overpriced. I mean, he went into he was kind of the talking horse, isn't he, after he won at Newmarket, and then suddenly he's become not the talking horse. But I mean,
Yeah.
I absolutely can see your angle.
Yeah, I just think you can just put a line through that run to a degree. Like he just raced very keenly and probably wasn't in the best position throughout, really. And they drop him in with a bit more cover in this race. As much as he's probably more of a 10 furlong horse, he definitely looks like he's up to winning a Group 1 this year. Whether it's this or not, I don't know, but we shall see.
Yeah, just a final word, Steve, on Opera Ballo, because obviously he was brilliant at Sandown last time. I just wonder a bit like Notable Speech if this is really the kind of test that he wants.
I mean, he's well worth his chance here. I love the fact that they went the softly approach with him because he was a big baby last year. Well, even at 2 he wasn't he? And I do think they're going to reap the rewards this season with him. It's just whether he is going to prove that proper Group 1 performer. I did think he was somewhat flattered by a really good ride by William Buick last time. But yeah, respected. But again, that straight mile at Ascot, never raced at Ascot before in his career, would be a slight negative for me around here.
Yeah, no, I'm rather in agreement there. I think we've got a fair amount of concord on that opening race. Let's move on, shall we, to the big sprint of the opening day. That is the King Charles III Stakes over 5 furlongs. A strong Australian contingent likely to line up here. The favourite is Overpass. Of those from British hopes, we have Knight Raider, American Affair, and I suppose you could really say she's a British horse now, as Fura, because basically all she does is run in this country now. We've got a few interesting Irish contenders too. Mission Central's entered up, Albert Einstein possibly. Rayevka coming over from France, and then the other one from Australia who could take part is Jolie Star. So looks like a really good race, and there could be a fair amount of speed on with Overpass. Jordan like to go forward. He's done that a lot in Australia, and he's actually dropping back to 5 furlongs. What took your eye in the King Charles III?
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I'm an Australian form expert because I'm not, but I do have a good friend down under called Josh Hedges, who's about similar age to me. He's a very good judge. It's not really doing much justice, and I speak to him quite a lot through the year. Jolie Star, I think, is going for the Jubilee, and Overpass is definitely kind of being touted towards this. I listened to I was trying to frantically do a bit more Australian form analysis last night before this, but I listened to an interview with Bjorn Baker last night, and he was sort of suggesting that if Overpass did win the King Charles, then it's not beyond the realms that they might back up on the Saturday. But it sounds like this is very much the main target. And yeah, like I think even if you don't really follow Australian racing closely, you'll know the horse. He's kind of danced every dance in Australian Group 1s for the last at least 4 years. Like he was playing second fiddle to Nature Strip, like a lot of them were 3 or 4 years ago. And I guess like with him coming over here when he won this race, there wasn't much point bringing Overpass over because it was just wasn't gonna be much of a change in story. He's just gonna be catching his tail here or there. So now, well, he's I think he'll be the only Australian horse in the lineup, bar Asfura, as you say, who's essentially a British horse now. I think we've adopted her by now. So yeah, I'd say he's going to be hard to beat. I think he'll win the race, to be honest. But of the rest of them, I'd have a lot of respect for Rayevka. She looked better than ever last time at Longchamp. It wasn't a great race, but she's definitely a very smart filly, and she deserves to win a Group 1, really. This is going to be tough, but I expect her to be bang there. She ran well at this meeting last year, and she maybe is just more of a five furlong horse now. She just looks all speed. So yeah, I'd say she's possibly got one of the better chances of turning over the Fav, and one at a massive price. Sorry, I've waffled on. Almerac, I think he's about 33 or 40 to 1 for William Haggis. He kind of looked like potentially developing into a Group 1 sprinter here last year, and he had that kind of like mad coming down in a race. I think it was at Newbury, and it was off the track since last time a few weeks ago at Salisbury, where he kind of just did enough to win, which was kind of a minor race, but you'd expect him to not have been nearly fully wound up for that race. And I'd say if he'll come on plenty and at a massive each way price, I think he can run into a minor place at big odds.
Okay, yeah, so that's a good spot. I thought he was quite impressive actually last time, to be honest. I've got to say I'm all over American Affair for this race again. I think it's going to set up really nice. I can see it now. I can see Overpass going off really fast in front, and American Affair just having a nice tank into it and sailing on by in the closing stages. Although it was such a good prep run last time behind Knight Raider in the Temple, given the fact it was second run back after a break, and I think he's still being put spot on, which he will be at Royal Ascot. So I can see American Affair emulating last year. I hope that Frost at Dawn runs well again, because she was second in it last year. She's been in pretty dismal form since then, but I'd love to see her run well for William Knight. She might have been worth a little bit of each way money, around about 66 to 1, given how well she ran the race last year. But I expect Overpass to go out in front, try and make all, and possibly American Affair just do him late. That's the way I see the race anyway. But yeah, I get what you're saying, Jordan. Fear Rayefka at your peril. Fear Francis Henri Graffard at your peril, given the way he's going at the moment. Steve, what are your thoughts on the race?
But the setup of the race would have been a negative for me, with lots of front runners in here for Knight Raider, if he hadn't done what he did last time and proved that he's not one-dimensional, because I think we've seen a really improved performer this year. 2 from 2 this season, 2 from 2 since being gelded. And I look back at running styles, so he's now won 6 times in his career. Running styles on his previous 5 were in touch with leaders on debut, made all, led at fast pace, made all. And then last time, slowly away in the Temple Stakes, proved that he isn't one-dimensional, made stylish headway, then beat American Affair cozily, I thought, by a length at the finish. Yes, American Affair would have been targeted around this. I think Knight Raider's being priced around his Ascot record. He was last of 19 in the Jersey behind Hartem, but that was off the back of them trying to settle him into a Guineas horse, and prior to a wind-up. He was 12th in this race last year. That was his first start over 5 furlongs, and you just know that he wasn't in the same form last year as he was this year. He didn't win any of his 7 starts, and just looks completely transformed character so far this year. I think he can take a lead. He can also lead. So if you do get a massive field, which I imagine we will in this, and they do split, he could well be drawn away from Overpass and get a lead on his side of the track. If he doesn't, then that's also fine, because he's now proved that he can settle in behind. And I just think he was slightly overpriced. I do also think you're probably going to see a better version of Asphora in this race. They haven't ran her with headgear on her last 2 starts. They're definitely going to put headgear back on for Royal Ascot. So I imagine, just like American Affair, this is going to be their peak for the whole season. But yeah, I've been really impressed with Knight Raider, and I don't want to desert him yet.
Okay, yeah, he's had a fine season so far. So yeah, some interesting thoughts there overall. And we move on to what I think is the best Group 1 of the week, at least the most exciting for me in the build up to it. It is the St James's Palace, which just looks mouth-watering, to be honest. If they all turn up, I hope they do. It could be a race to remember. I think we hoped for the same last year, and it sort of delivered, because I suppose Field of Gold was so ultra impressive that neither of the other 2 Irish and French riders could really get near. But Bo Echo, I think it's going to take some stopping. Stard is in there for Aidan O'Brien. We've got Talk of New York, who could be anything. We've got Raif, the French Guineas winner, and a few others too. So it looks like a real proper race. How excited are you for this one, Steve?
Oh, I mean, this is the dream, isn't it? English, Irish and French 2000 Guineas winners all meeting in the St James's Palace Stakes. And I think the fact that Bo Echo, we haven't seen him since the Guineas, it probably makes this even more interesting, because Stard has gone on and won the Irish 2000 Guineas. Has he improved from that, or did he just do what he needed to beat Distant Storm once again? You've got Talk of New York, who is ultra progressive and has now got back to the horse that we hoped he'd be after that scintillating Kempton success. Raif, again, a French 2000 Guineas winner. But I went back through and tried to look at past runnings of this. So you had the likes of Frankel, Dawn Approach, Glen Eagles, Galileo Gold, and Caribus all win the 2,000 guineas at Newmarket, and then this. But I think it's interesting the fact that they're coming here straight with Bo Echo, because Dawn Approach came via the Derby. Glen Eagles won the Irish 2,000 guineas, and Galileo Gold finished second in the Irish 2,000 guineas prior to this. So it's actually only Frankel and Caribus that have come straight here after Newmarket to win. You had the likes of Kingman, Rosalian, and Field of Gold, who all placed at Newmarket before winning the Irish 2,000 guineas and then coming on to win this. And that would just slightly lean me towards Stard. He got the same profile as those horses that I've just mentioned. He also boasts something that only Dawn Approach had done of those recent winners. That was a win at Royal Ascot as a 2-year-old. He was an impressive winner of the Coventry Stakes last season. I think it's going to be tactical, this. Talk of New York, Bo Echo and Rayeth are all going to be ridden off the pace, I think, with a turn of foot. And I think Stard is going to be prominent, and hopefully Ryan can get first run. But Bo Echo, I know all of the chat from the stable has been that he's progressed since the Guineas, but I think he was trained to the minute for that race. All of the preparation and everything was all well documented, which is great from George Bowie, but I do think that was big number one target for the season. And we know how Aidan O'Brien trains now. It's to progress through the whole year, and I just think he might well step forward and can reverse that form.
Okay, yeah, really interesting thoughts. He was super impressive at the Curragh, wasn't he? And I know I keep saying it. I can't wait for this race. I think it could be a proper barnstormer. Jordan, what do you make of it? I mean, it's got all the hallmarks of a classic, right?
Yeah, Steve's done a very good summary of that, really. I don't really have an awful lot to add, but I've come around to talk of New York a bit, really. I was kind of crabbing him in the lead up to the Guineas. Like, he was kind of like that kind of, I don't know, I'd describe him as like a shrewd, like clock watcher's kind of horse. Like in the lead up to the Guineas, in the sense that like he hadn't really done enough to suggest he could win a Guineas for me anyway. And he won that conditions race, and I'm just checking that the conditions race at the Craven meeting. I just didn't think he was that impressive that day. Like it was impressive enough, obviously. You wouldn't mind owning 10% of him, but I thought on the day, like Cerro Blanco had won the maiden on the day, I was kind of more taken with him than I was talking New York. That horse has since obviously come out and been beaten by Sabre Strike, who we might come on to later. But that listed win at Sandown last time, I just think was probably nearly one of the best mile performances we've seen in a little while. Like, obviously, silly thing to say when you've got Bo Echo and Stard pulling so clear in the Guineas, but taking those maybe outside of Group 1 level, like I just thought that was so impressive. And you know, you could argue that this is obviously going to be a more tactical affair than that was, and he's got to come on again. But Charlie Appleby's made no secret of kind of how highly regarded this horse is from an early stage, and I think now after that Sandown when he's kind of proven it on the track really to a degree. I just think it's not really an original way of thinking. Like, he's 5 or 6 to 1, I think, so it's not like an outsider by any means, but I think he can definitely lay down a big challenge to the top two. And I'd agree with Steve on the fact that if Bo Echo can come and, like, he maybe doesn't need to step forward too much from the really impressive Guineas win, but if he can back that up, then fair play to George Bowie and his team, because that would be kind of a serious credit to them, really, given the fact that I agree, he seems like he was really trained to the second for the Guineas. But yeah, I quite fancy this Talk New York, and I'll be with him at 5 to 1 or bigger, I think.
Okay, yeah, really interesting differing views. I'm taking you both on, actually, because I just think that the favourite's going to be too strong, personally. Although, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of all this kind of bullish talk. And George Bowie's come out and said he's even improved since the Guineas. He's strengthened up. He's got better. And it's all very well saying that, isn't it? But I just thought he was mighty at Newmarket, and I'm actually rather hoping that we get something this year along the lines of sort of a. Do you remember Henry the Navigator and Ravens Pass? It was kind of a real tete-a-tete throughout the whole season between the two milers. And I'm hoping we get that with Bo Echo at start, to be honest. But then you have got Talk of New York in there, as Jordan says. He was brilliant at Sandown. I was actually at Kempton when he won his debut, as I always seem to be for these Wednesday nights and horses he win. That to be quite good. And yeah, I thought he was pretty good that day, to be fair. He did win by 4 lengths, but yeah, since then he's gone on. He's rated 104 now, but no doubt it's going to be rated a lot higher than that in the future. The one I think is maybe overpriced, even though it's a really hot race, is Raif, who won the French Guineas. Okay, it was very soft ground that day, but I mean, his pedigree suggests that it'll be just fine on decent ground, so it might even improve it. And I love the way he did it last time. I just do feel perhaps that taking on the caliber of these kind of colts is possibly going to be a little bit too much. But again, fear Monsieur Graffard at your peril. So I think he might just be overpriced around about 9-1, but I do think Boaco is going to win. There we have 3 different picks from the panel there for the St James's Palace. That's what you get, isn't it? Right. Anything else on day one, chaps? Because we've also got a couple of other really solid handicaps. We've got the Ascot Stakes, the Wolferton listed race, the Copper Horse, and we also have the Coventry. Jordan, I'll come straight back to you. Anything else that appeals to you?
Yeah, well, we obviously had Dylan who will bring on later, but we've got a horse called Asgard's Captain. He's been a bit of a legend for my syndicate that he's probably got absolutely zero chance of getting into the Copper Horse. As I'm looking at it now, I've been refreshing it all morning, but there's 51 entries at the moment. I don't even want to look at where we are in the ballot order, but it's going to be a long way down further than 16 at the Max Field. So it looks like we won't get in that. There was another horse in that probably isn't going to get in. It's called Delta for Joseph O'Brien, but I think he's probably worth following through the season. He looks quite interesting as a kind of stay as a follow. To be honest, I don't really have any strong views on the rest of Tuesday. I'm just looking through the Wolferton entries now. You've got Hartem that's being pointed towards that. I think he's a 2-time Royal Ascot winner, isn't he? Over 2 different trips. Like he's obviously got to be respected in that race. Yeah, I wouldn't really have any strong views. I think by the looks of it, William Haggis is going to run Opportunity in the Copper Horse. He'd be top weight, and I'd say he'd be nearly the one to beat in that. But it'll be a race to have a look at near the time with 51 entries at the moment. It's not even 11 yet. There's another hour. There might be 100 in there in a minute. I didn't know there were that many stayers rated over 90 in Europe, but yeah, I wouldn't have any strong views, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sorry we haven't got a cushion for you, Jordan, to hide behind as you look at those entries for Ascot's Captain. It is one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, I've come on shoulders puffed, put on the merch, and now we're going to get a run. I have to stay at home on the Tuesday, maybe.
And you know what? Some host I am, because I didn't even mention that we've got Dylan Cunha coming on halfway through this podcast, did I, at the start? So Dylan Cunha's coming on in this podcast halfway through. Gun there. Yeah, no. I should have told everyone at the start. Steve, what about you? Anything else for day one?
Yeah, I'll quickly run through 3. Jordan's already spoken about Opportunity. He'd also have the option between the Copper Horse over 1.6 miles and the Duke of Edinburgh over 1.5 miles. I don't know which way they're going to go, but I'm going to be with him whichever way that he goes. He beat Rahab in a novice race at Haydock last season. Slightly disappointed behind Amalok on the next couple of starts, but was given the remainder of the season off, was gelded over the winter, and I thought really caught my eye at Ascot on his reappearance. Was too far back, ran on into third. Valedictory was further back that day and has since boosted the form. I thought he was really impressive at Carlisle last time, deserving of an £8 rise. Looks a strong stayer. I'd actually probably prefer him in this over 1.6 miles than what I would over 1.5 miles because he does look a strong stayer at the trip. So yeah, I'd be with Opportunity, probably in both of them, but I'd prefer them to go for this Copper Horse handicap. In the commentary, I like Rare. We were obviously there at Newmarket when he made his debut. Slowly away, given an easy time by Oisin Murphy that day when behind Al Hudayba. He'd have actually won at Yarmouth without jinking and unseating Tom Mark 1 that day. But looking back, I wasn't aware that Moreira was trying to give him £3 that day. So you can probably upgrade that debut performance. Justified his short price last time at Lingfield, winning easily by about 3 lengths. He's around sort of 25s, 33s. I thought that was quite a big price for a horse that cost quite a lot as a breeze up horse. And they've got a couple of runs into him prior to Coventry. And then Ghostwriter is going to have entries in the Wolferton and the Hardwick. So I'll touch on him now rather than later. Bought for ammo for £2 million before this meeting last season, was third in the Hardwick, reared over when being saddled in the Princess of Wales Stakes at Newmarket and wasn't seen for the rest of the season. Has since moved from Clive Cox to Kevin Phillipart de Foy. He hasn't won since September 2023. So the way that the Wolferton works with all the penalty structure, he'd be in probably receiving weight from lower rated rivals. And you just need to look back at his form. He was third behind City of Troy in both the Eclipse and in that Juddmonte International with Calandagan in. So he could prove really well weighted on official ratings if they were to drop down in trip for the Wolferton.
Yeah, fascinating views there. And wish you the best of luck with those, Steve, for sure. Good to hear the name Ghostwriter again, actually. I'm just going to put one forward. Potentially, if he runs in the commentary, I think George Scott could have another one in there. O'Gorman, who was really very impressive under a penalty at Newmarket last time out in Tattersalls auction race. And I like the way he's progressing. So if he goes there, then I think he's got a good chance. 33-1, nice price for O'Gorman. Best bet of day one, then I'm going to go with American Affair in the King Charles III Stakes each way. I think he's got a mighty chance. Steve, what about you?
Stad for me in the St James's Palace.
Love it. And Jordan?
I'm going to go with Damasus in the Queen Anne, just because he's a nice price.
Yeah, he is a nice price. Okay, best of luck to you all. Right, gents, tremendous. We've covered plenty in that podcast, all things Royal Ascot. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you all of you at home for watching. If you haven't already, you can apply for your account at jointextbet.co.uk via the link in the description. So please do make sure you do that if you haven't already. And the last thing for me to say is best of luck with everything that you're backing and keeping on side at Royal Ascot. It's sure to be the best 5 days of the year on the flat, as it always is. Until next time from us here, it's goodbye.